Welcome back into Exit 99 Sports. As always, my name is Caleb Deloach, and we have got a lot of basketball going on here in the area. We're in the middle of the SEMO Conference Boys Tournament. As I am recording, we are through with the girls tournament. We've got the girls Christmas tournament seeds, and the bracket is out now. A little peek behind the curtain here. I'm recording on Tuesday, a little bit later than usual. I was calling the Jackson Poplar Bluff game yesterday in the SEMO Conference Tournament down in Sykeston, so I'm a little bit behind here, so excuse me. We'll see when this comes out, see how behind I am on some of the things I'm telling you about, but we will jump right in. Basketball is, hot in the streets right now. We are a week into the season. Most teams have played, everybody's played now. Most teams have gotten in an early season, out of conference game or a big tournament, something like that. And that's where we'll start this past week. Saxony, they were in the Duke Herbert tournament that is played at Crystal City. Saxony's there. Cape is in the Fountain City Classic, and Jackson was playing in the Farmington Invitational. I'm talking about boys here, obviously. Saxony won their first game. I believe that was a 4-5 matchup. They knocked off Park Hill Central 79-54. I mean, if we're just being objective here, huge offensive explosion for a Saxony team that did not score a lot of points last year, putting up 79. Park Hill Central might be down a little bit right now. However, that's a program that's consistently very, very good. I mean, they're only a few years removed from going to state championships, things like that. Obviously, no more Joe Bryant and, Mason Williams, things like that. I get, but still a very proud program up there in Flat River. However, Saxony did go on to lose to Jefferson, the 1 seed, 77-43. Jefferson looked like a really good team last year. They were pretty young, looked solid at times, but they jumped up. They smoked Saxony, unfortunately, there in that one. Also, earlier in the week, Cape Central started 2-0 there up in DeSoto. They knocked off Fox 72-53, getting a big win over Fox. Fox, usually not too strong of a program. They usually sit around the bottom of their district. And then they come back Wednesday, Cape Central, tough ball game. Fort Zumwalt West beat them 62-55. Cape Central won, that is, 62-55. That's a game that Cape Central lost the previous season there against Fort Zumwalt to get kind of relegated to the third place game. However, they get the win, start the season 2-0, and then that set up a big-time matchup Saturday against Sykeston. Kind of a weird situation where both SEMO Conference teams are obviously the two best teams going into a tournament like that up in DeSoto. Kind of weird that they're both there, obviously, just with the fact that, you're kind of expecting, like, hey, we're probably going to see each other in the championship here. And that's the case. Sykeston got the better of them, 76-63. Sykeston looks really, really good. They look like the real deal going into the SEMO Conference Tournament. They are definitively the favorite. They were the favorite in my mind coming into the season. I know Cape got the 1 seed for the SEMO Conference Tournament. I mean, I never really understood it in general. I get the fact that Sykeston lost all 5 starters, and all 5 starters were college basketball players. 2 of them were Division I basketball players. I get that, but, the guys they had coming back, the guys that are playing well already, Kobe Thomas, Marquell Murray. Also, think about it, Tyshawn Edwards, Marquell Murray team right now. Murray, Thomas, Jaharis Goodwin, Jacarion Ray. I will call him Jacarion Ray. I went to high school with, or not, I didn't go to high school with, but I was in school with a J Ray myself, so I won't be calling him J Ray. I'm sorry. Jacarion, we're going to stick with the government name here whenever I talk about your games, but they got a lot of kids that are super, super talented, and they beat Cape Central. But, the story of the tournament for Cape is Tyshawn Edwards. You knew coming into the year, he's one of the most talented kids, period, in Southeast Missouri, like full stop. In this year, he seems to really have embraced the role of being the guy there, and I hope to see him. He got dinged up at the end of last season, got injured. I want to say it was a hand. I don't remember for certain, but kind of cratered Cape's season there at the end of the year when he went down. If he's able to stay healthy, play a full schedule, watch out. He's averaging 30 a night up there in DeSoto. He was phenomenal. I'm going to be looking down. We're going to be getting live reaction to the SEMO Conference Tournament as I'm recording here of Cape Central playing. I'm going to be keeping track of their game on my phone here. So I'm curious to see how he plays when he gets to go against more SEMO Conference opponents here, 3 nights this week. But, 33 against a great Sykeston team. The Sykeston just doesn't have the size for Tyshandre. Now, obviously, a question is, does Cape have the guards that are ready to take that next step to take on a team with, Murray and Kobe Thomas type guards? I don't know. They play a lot of young guys, but a lot of young guys I am really optimistic about. The 2 freshmen, Josie Seaball, Landon Coney. I say it a lot. My qualifier is always, I worked at the Sportsplex from the time it opened until basically right before my daughter was born in late December 2023. So I saw so many of these kids that are now in high school from the time they were like 5, 6, 7 playing little kid basketball up to this point. And, Landon Coney, Josie Seaball, always 2 of the very, very best kids their age, just great athletes. Coney was always a big guard. He grew quickly. Seaball was a freak, fast, athletic kid. And so I'm excited to see what they can do. And then, Cape has the returning front court with Edwards and Goliath Morris Young. I really like Goliath quite a bit. And I like kind of where his development's going. I want to see him keep taking steps this year, keep being assertive as a scorer. Tyshandre is maybe going to average 25 plus a game, but you don't have to default to him. But if at the same time, if Cape Central wants to just give it to Tyshandre and everybody get out of the way, that's going to probably be an effective method of offense here. Then Jackson, they played 3 games up in Farmington. It was an invitational where Jackson played Rockwood Summit, St. Pius X out of Festus, and Farmington. Night 1, they played Rockwood Summit. Pretty good test for a first game of the season. Rockwood Summit is a big 6'9" kid inside. They have some pretty good, talented guards out on the wing, and Jackson came away with the win. They took a lead pretty early and held that lead throughout. Rockwood Summit was able to chip back, get into it, but the Indians held them off, won 58-54. Cool note, Jory Toma, first game back, I believe 2 practices in. He put up 18 in that first ball game. Will Thomas, a guy I'm going to be talking about a lot, has emerged this season as a primary scoring option for the Indians. He had 15 in that game. Then against St. Pius, Indians bludgeoned St. Pius. Will Thomas had 17 in that one. And then finally, the one that was, people were looking forward to, was definitely interesting, was Jackson taking on Farmington. At Farmington, tough place to play. Farmington loses a lot from last season, so they're going to play Jackson, Cape, Sykeston all here in the regular season. Notre Dame plays Farmington. So they come down here a lot, so it's a team you're going to be seeing quite a bit around the area, I'm sure. But they lose a lot from last year. They lose their 2 by far best players. They bring back quite a few guys with experience, but nobody who is quite on the level of the Shoppert kid that graduated and Cannon Roth. Those kids were on a different level, and I believe that's why they're playing at the next level. Jackson got that win, 71-61. Pretty much led wire to wire in that one also, if memory serves. Played a very physical defense, forced a ton of turnovers. Will Thomas had 25 in that one, so he averaged 19 for the tournament. Really, really big showing. This is a guy that averaged 2 points a game last year. Obviously, the role wasn't really there. He wasn't playing very much on that team, but he's taken a step forward. Jackson's graduated, Colton Toma and Cole Deck in front of him. And so now he's got the opportunity to shine, and he's been doing that here early in the season. And then finally, Notre Dame had one standalone ball game this past week. Did not go very well. They took on a St. Mary's team who is pretty good looking right now, which might be a surprise to some people. They lost Zaire Collins to, I believe, that Austin P., younger brother of Yuri Collins, who was one of the best point guards in America in college basketball for a while. Zaire Collins averaged 35 points a game at St. Mary's last year. So people thought they would take a step back, but the supporting cast he had, and might be some new people here and there, it happens. They look really, really good. St. Mary's is a legit good team. I mean, they probably compare to Sykeston. No crazy hype, but dudes that can fly out there, and they have really, really talented players. So, yeah, St. Mary's smoked them 84-53. Notre Dame's a team I'm going to be watching. I'm going to be monitoring because that's another group I know a lot. There's this group of like 12 kids every single day of the week that came to the Sportsplex. The minute we opened, they were getting dropped off by their parents from St. Vincent or their coach, Don Earps. Shout out Don. He had those kids there every single day. He was their coach, and they have gotten better and better over the years. They destroyed everybody back in their parochial league days. They were leaps and bounds better than St. Mary's, IC, etc. And so that's a group I'm really interested in. Cole Adams, Braden Robert, Ty Blattle was a kid that we had at the Sportsplex quite a bit. The whole crew there, all those sophomores, very, very excited. I'm very interested to see what they do, how they develop, how they make a jump to the varsity level. Right now, a little bit of baptism by fire. They're taking on some really, really tough opponents. They were great at the JV level, but it's a different monster when you get out here on the varsity and you're playing, against guys 3 years older than you who are at home playing at the field house, things like that. It's going to be a tough adjustment. But yeah, I'm really high on the group. I'm just looking at the names, Evan Schwainbold, guys like that, Quinn Gammon, Colin Farrow, Colin Erbst, Bryson Edwards, Chance Brosey. All these kids I used to just see every single day. Have to check them in at the Sportsplex at the front desk every single day. They were there working, so I'm excited to see what they can do. And the upperclassmen, kind of see how they are able to step up at times. Colton Londaway, Gabe Jones, much bigger roles. Dylan Rubel stepping into a big role now this year. Devin Dannemuller. No Hudson Dennis. Hudson focusing on other endeavors, which I definitely get. State champion swimmer. Want him to succeed at a high of a level as he can there. No more off-season injuries to slow him down. So, best of luck to him there. But it's going to be a hit to the basketball team, right? He was a big, strong, athletic center inside. They're definitely going to miss his presence in there. And yeah, we'll just see how they adjust moving forward. Then this past week, we also had a lot of girls basketball because the SEMO Conference Tournament for the girls was going on. This past week, I guess we can kind of go, I will go, I suppose, night by night for that day one. Notre Dame beat Dexter 49-39. Notre Dame did come in as the 2 seed. They're a team that also lost a lot from last year. They lose 2 players in the front court that were really good. Barnett and Wagner did a lot for them. Kraft as well on the wing. So they lose a lot from last year. They won that first game over Dexter by 10. Eloisa Marquez had 12. Mia Panton, who I expect a lot out of this year, had 10. Kobe Kohler had 10. So I'm optimistic about what they can do, but it is going to be a tough road. They do play a very tough schedule. Then New Madrid knocked off Saxony. I thought it was a game Saxony could win. Saxony's very, very close. They just cannot get over the hump in some of these close ball games, like they lost a close one to Cape early in the year. I'm going to see if they're able to jump up and catch somebody. What you expect out of them, Kenzie Keys had 20. Emily Mueller had 14. Like I said, about what you expect. Those girls still only sophomores, got a long way to go. But I'm very optimistic about the future still. But I think they do have a little while on the runway till they are up in the upper tier of the SEMO Conference. But for the time being, I'm going to remain optimistic about what they can do. Then on day 2, that's where you had Jackson playing. They played New Madrid. Final score is 69-7. Jackson gave up 7 points to a SEMO Conference opponent. Kate Deck, 25. Lauren Dory, 16. Addie Henderson, 8. defensive masterclass. Everybody coming up big defensively for them. Cape Central, they got knocked off. Really low scoring ball game, 40-38 against Poplar Bluff. Game was at Poplar Bluff, where the conference tournament was held. Jamie Dawson-Ide leading the way there with 14. And then Saxony on day 2 got into it, got a win, 43-38. So we're able to get over that single-digit hump against Dexter. Kinsey Keys had 14. Just like I said, she's a girl you're going to expect to see in those double digits night in and night out for Saxony. So she's leading the way here early. And finally, day 3, get into the semifinals on the winner's side, consolation side. Jackson blew out Poplar Bluff. I mean, look, I talked about it a lot last year. We're going to have a conversation about Jackson. We'll see what happens with them in St. Vincent here in the near future. But south of Perryville, there's nobody that could probably be within 20 points of them. So, I mean, there's going to be some lopsided scores in SEMO Conference play for the Indians this year. They beat Bluff 75-13. 75-13. Kate Deck, once again, 26. Lauren Dory had 8 in that game. Henderson had 15, so popping off a little bit more. Just another dominant game. The Notre Dame, they were on the wrong side of a blowout. 60-27 against Kennett, who was definitely underseeded. There was 3 seed, but I definitely think they should have been seeded ahead of Notre Dame just because of what they had coming back. And they look pretty good. Elise Edwards is obviously a monster. That girl's going to be pushing all-time records in the state scoring-wise by the time it's all said and done. But yeah, Notre Dame held to 27, really tough. Mia Panton, though, bright spot, had 14 in that ball game. Cape Central, they won against New Madrid over on the consolation side. Once again, Jamie Dawson-Ide, 11. Caden Kern with 9. Abby Davenport had 14. So Davenport showing up a little bit more. Kern showing up some more. I'm excited to see what she can do. Once again, only a freshman, but another girl with a very bright future here in Southeast Missouri. And then finally, Sykeston did bounce Saxony over on the consolation side, 61-42. Kinsey Keys led the way once again with 13. Allie Nickham, double figures, 2 games in a row, had 14 there. And then on championship day, the consolation championship, Cape Central blows out Sykeston 54-26. Really good to see. Davenport and Dawson were both 20-point scorers in that game. And that's something I kind of expect to see throughout the year. Jamie's been really, really fun to watch across all sports now. She was awesome in track this past year, went to state and cross country this year, and already looking like a double-digit point per game scorer again in basketball. Third place game, Poplar Bluff beat Notre Dame by 3, 50-47. Once again, playing a road game, always tough in the SEMO Conference. Mia Panton led the way, did everything she could. She put up 26 of the 47 points, but the Bulldogs did fall by 3. And then in the finals, Thanos snap, I am inevitable. Jackson, 66, Kennett, 29. Kate Deck, 24 points, averages 25 a game through the tournament. Henderson had 15. Lauren Dory had 13. And maybe the most notable thing is they held Elise Edwards to only 11. That's unheard of. So shout out to Lily Watkins. Saw her out there face guarding. And I know she came out of the game, but it felt like every time I was watching, Lily was just chasing Elise Edwards all over the floor. So shout out to her. I mean, all-time great defender. Just hounds people, 94 feet. So very, very fun to watch. And then finally, this year they are doing a all-tournament team / MVP for boys and girls. SEMO Conference Tournament. It's kind of the first time thing. I was fortunate enough to get to vote on it, so that was very, very cool. I appreciate the people who set that up and, gave me that honor. 3 girls from Jackson were on the all-tournament team: Kate Deck, Addison Henderson, Lauren Dory, then Elise Edwards and Taja Carter from Kennett, Addison Valenzuela from Poplar Bluff, Mia Panton from Notre Dame, Jamie Dawson-Ide from Cape, Marley Crook from Sykeston, and Kinsey Keys from Saxony. So all of our teams here in Cape County represented. And then finally, Kate Deck was the MVP. Led her team to a championship, averaged 25 points a game on the way there. Well-deserved. Shout out to Kate Deck. Special, man. She's a really, really good player. She has been knocking down shots at a high level. And then even when her shots haven't been falling early in the year or early in some of these games at times, like I want to say it was one of the first 2 games, if I remember right. She was missing a ton of shots early. Didn't matter. Still was playing tough defense, getting out in transition, scoring easy buckets, setting her teammates up for good looks. Really, really good passer. So I've been really, really impressed with everything she is doing. And then for those who are interested in some smaller schools, I'll start paying more attention to the smaller schools here as we get past the other side, or we get into the Christmas tournament and then get past the other side of Christmas, where there's just a little bit less going on basketball wise. But I did keep up with. We had 3 tournaments in Southeast Missouri of small schools: Bernie Invitational, Woodland Invitational, Oran, and the home teams had some success there. Bernie looks like a monster right now. People talk about it. That the District of Death down there, Class 2, District 3, I believe it is. Bernie's a monster. 59-31 over Campbell in the championship. Also, Charleston went on the road and blew out Festus, but also Charleston just lost, as I'm recording, by 10 to Dexter in a rematch, but whatever. Charleston looks really good. Puxico is Puxico. They're beating people by like 40 a game. They're playing, kind of whatever teams right now, but they're going to be very, 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 very good. One of the best teams, regardless of class, in the entire region. Anyway, Bernie wins their own invitational, blows out everybody. Woodland wins their own invitational, 77-42 in the final. Shout out former Jackson Indian, Jackson Shock. Corbin Kinder's a monster. Who's there? Calvin Layton looks good. So I think their closest game was 17 against Leopold. Pretty good Leopold team. And then finally, Oran Invitational or Oran Tournament. Bell City knocked off Chaffee in the title game. So 2 teams that will be interesting as we go into the Christmas tournament. Bell City won 52-41. Bell City looks really good, man. They look really, really good. Hernandez handling, Richardson inside. Chaffee looked really good in the tournament, though. Dane McBullen, kind of taking the spotlight a little bit there over at Chaffee. He had, I think, 36 in one game. The lefty looked really, really nice. So shout out to all those teams. Like I said, I'll be keeping track, and then I'll be part of the team calling the Christmas tournament over at Cape here coming up soon. So excited to see what all we can get into there. There was a lot of wrestling. I do have some results from some of the wrestling that went on. I know Saxony is with Notre Dame this year, for those that don't know. They're co-oping wrestling. They tied early in the week against Kennett 36-36. I don't have individual numbers from that, but as a team, that was the scores there. Then Notre Dame hosted their own invitational. I don't know how long they've been doing it, but pretty good setup over there. And they had a lot of kids who had a big showing, I would say. Kids from both Saxony and Notre Dame who are all part of the same team this year. Parker Lemons got first at 157. Connor Jackson got first at 190. They had 4 wrestlers come in second in their weight classes. Oscar Kester at 120. Ozzie Turner from Saxony, Coach Turner's son, at 150. Max Schultz at 165. Evan Thompson at heavyweight. And then a couple of third-place finishers, Jaden Essner at 126. Mark Schultz at 165. And then another team who performed really, really well this past weekend were the Jackson Indians. They went up to Francis Howell North. Tough area of wrestling, man. Some good wrestlers up there in suburban St. Louis. And the Indians performed well. They got third as a team. There was no Bryson Wessel, who I think got 4th in state. No Joe Moore, who was a finalist or a medalist at state. No Cade King, who was a medalist at state. So the Indians were without a lot of dudes who were big-time wrestlers on that team and still got third as a team. So they looked dangerous. They had a couple of first-place finishers. Grady Rice, who's, I think, poised to have a big, big year. At 126, Raleigh Evans at 157. Both got first. Camden Gerhart at 120 and Mitchell Baker at 132 got second. And then 3 wrestlers got third. Jaden Eddy at 144, Gannon Rice at 150, and Sawyer Goodwin at 165. And then Will Bortner got 4th at 138. The one result I did see on the girls' side at the Notre Dame Invitational, they had a couple of wrestlers got second place, Maddie Hager at 145, Caroline Dawson at 155. So, I mean, the region looks really, really good this year at wrestling. You expect the Indians to be a problem as always. And they're going to be the class of Southeast Missouri for sure. And like I said, this is no Bryson Wessel yet, no Joe Moore, no Cade King, no other. There's a lot of guys out for them right now. So, I mean, they're going to be dominant in the area. Yeah, there's a lot of teams looking really, really strong. Notre Dame, boys and girls. I'm expecting Jackson girls to look really good this year. I mean, Kaylee Milam, one of the very, very best in the entire state. So I'm excited to see what all they were able to get into on the wrestling mat this year. Now we can jump into kind of what's going on this week. As I mentioned, this will be coming out mid-week here, and some results might already be final by the time I talk about, by the time this comes out, by the time you're hearing and listening to me. But regardless, I do have the first day of the SEMO Conference down. New Madrid beat Kennett in the play-in game, blew them out there. And so Kennett moves on to play the loser of the 2-7 game, which is between Sykeston and Notre Dame. Unsurprisingly, Sykeston wins big in that one, 80-42. Notre Dame led by Cole Adams with 8. Dylan Rubel had 7. Ty Blattle had 6. Sykeston's just nasty. I think they started the game 6 of 6 from 3. So, you expect Sykeston to get after you in the full court, force turnovers, get out in transition, get easy buckets, get downhill, get easy buckets. This team has shooters, all right? Kobe Thomas is one of the very best. Marquel Murray can shoot it. Ben James can shoot it. They've got dudes all over the court that can knock down threes. No 7-footers anymore, so, that's a little bit of a difference. No more Trey Sadler there, but they've just got guys all over the floor that can just light it up. You look at their scoring. It was up and down the roster. Tons of people contributed. So it's going to be a tough Sykeston team this year. They've got guys up and down the roster who can contribute. They're back to their normal, just deep bench, throw bodies at you type of style. They went 13 of 26 from 3. That was the number I was trying to pull up. 13 of 26 from 3. Kobe Thomas had 15, Goodwin 14, Ray 10, Marquel Murray filling up the stat sheet, 7 points, 6 assists, 5 rebounds. So, they're going to be trouble. And that trouble is coming toward the Indians, who do advance to the semifinals on the winner bracket side. They knocked off Poplar Bluff 59-53. It was not easy. Jackson jumped out, 16, 17-point lead. Poplar Bluff just started reeling them back in. I thought Jackson was really going to be on the ropes. This Poplar Bluff team, they hadn't played a game yet. So it was kind of a mystery what they might look like. They had pieces returning. Dallas Williams, definitely a big leader for them there. 6'4", strong kid. Ultimate green light. Will shoot it from anywhere, anytime. Just unconscious scorer for them. Looked good. They have a ton of size. Like I said, Williams is 6'4". They start Briscoe inside is 6'8". They got Peyton Smith is 6'5". They got Corbin Thomas is 6'4". Sammy Durden is 6'4". They are a big, big team across the lineup. And they're playing without Markel Hurd, who's 6'5", 6'6", really, really talented forward inside for them. So they're going to be a good team as this year goes on. So keep your eye on Poplar Bluff. But Jackson comes away with the win, 59-53. Once again, Will Thomas leads the way, 15 points. Ty Forrest right behind him with 14. He continues to play well. Britt Crowden knocked down a couple of threes in this game that were huge. Jory Toma doing what he does, getting downhill. Had some tough time finishing in the trees in this ball game at time, but he knocks down the big clutch 3 to give the Indians, I believe, the 4-point lead. And maybe the most interesting thing about the tournament this year, outside of, it's a great tournament, right? You got Sykes and Charleston, Cape, Jackson, Notre Dame, Poplar Bluff, Dexter, all these teams that have New Madrid, all these teams that have won big over the decades. But this year there's a new wrinkle. There's a shot clock. And I know that elicits strong emotions out of people, but the one thing it definitely changes is the fact that, I don't think it's a slight to say that William Durden teams love to hold the ball when they get a lead late in ball games. Or I don't know if that's true across the board, but I feel like every time he's ever played Jackson and Jackson has gotten a lead late in a game, they just pull it out. They will stand with the ball in their hip at half court. So that is eliminated, which was lovely. Let me tell you, as a guy who has to sit up in a booth explaining the game to you on the call, being able to not say, and Durden has it, and he throws it over to Lathan. He's waiting. Not being able to just not call nothing for 2 minutes at a time. Chef's kiss. Thank you, SEMO Conference Tournament. Shout out whoever is in charge. Tyson Moyers, I think, is like the president of SEMO Conference. Thank you, Mr. Moyers. And all the coaches, thank you to you for voting for it. It was so nice. Teams are playing offense. There wasn't a single, in the Jackson game that I called, there was no shot clock violations. I think the shot clock got to single digits a couple of times, and that was more late in the game. Poplar Bluff was trying to run clock a little bit, but it's a 35-second shot clock. I think it's a perfect amount of time. The game before I watched some, I think there was one shot clock violation between Kennett and New Madrid, which, I mean, that's an 8-9 game. So, you maybe have lower expectations, but it wasn't an issue. I was really, really impressed. I'm going to assume Sykeston scoring 80 had no issue with the shot clock. They don't usually have an issue with a shot clock. So, I mean, we'll see how it affects things later in the tournament, but it really didn't feel like it changed the game all that much, with the exception being Poplar Bluff had a 3-point lead with a couple minutes left in the game, maybe 3 minutes, 4 minutes. I mean, I guess they had it around the start of the fourth quarter, and that is a spot where I think if there was no shot clock, Coach Durden would pull it out, make Jackson come get him, make Jackson start fouling, but it was just so nice. Like, there was just none of that. They just were having to play offense. And due to the fact that they had to play offense, Jackson was able to get stops, and the Indians came down and they scored, made shots when they needed to, and took the lead back and won by 6. So a good learning moment for the Indians, though. Like I said, going up by 16, 17, losing that lead all the way to Poplar Bluff is a 20-point swing, basically. Poplar Bluff went up by 3, I think, was as big as it got. I think it was just 3 for Poplar Bluff. They had a 3-point lead. But then Jackson responded late in the game when they needed to. It was a big question. There's no cold deck, right? Who are they going to go to late in games? Who's going to be the guy that's whatever they're running plays for? It wasn't necessary. And I was shocked by that. And, they just made plays as a team. I think they got a steal. Thomas got fouled, made free throws, got a stop. Jory Toma made a shot. Like, guys just across the board made plays. And so it's a fun Indians team. There definitely are a sum of the parts team, right? The sum of the parts is just really, really strong, and it's really, really cool to see. And so, yeah, I'm very optimistic about what they can do, but they got Sykeston now, so I don't know how that's going to go. I mean, Sykeston's going to be tough. I think, I think what Coach Thomas said after that game against Poplar Bluff is true. Like, we've got to come focused, ready for 4 quarters of just relentless pressure and attack and physicality, or else this game could get away from me. I mean, Sykeston can blow by you in a hurry. And so if the Indians are a bugaboo for the Indians early in the season is turnovers. They turn it over too much. And but if they're able to kind of reduce those, they can definitely make this a ball game. If not, if they turn it over 20 times, this might be Sykeston by 20. It might be Sykeston by running clock. So they've got to come in. They've got to take care of the ball, got to play tough, rebound, and, yeah, do what they know how to do, hit shots. So we'll see what they're able to do. Like I said, you might know the result of this by the time you see it. Hopefully not. But I am, once again, monitoring live Cape Central. Early lead against New Madrid. You already know what the outcome is. So that's pretty much the boys' side, what we've got already. So Jackson, Sykeston meeting in the semifinals on the winner bracket side. Dexter is already through for me in live time here Tuesday. and we'll face the winner of Cape and New Madrid. Presumably going to be the Tigers. We'll set up an interesting matchup. I'm high on Dexter this year. Once again, I didn't do a big basketball preview to get all these SEMO Conference stalls out of my head, but I like Dexter a lot. They bring back all but one guy, and I really liked them last year. They were young and experienced. The Ibrahim kid inside, I'm trying to think. I mean, John Ernst, I get it. Tashandra Edwards is a forward. I don't know how I want to classify him necessarily. Ibrahim, though, is maybe the best just like kind of low post guy in Southeast Missouri right now. The kid is dominant inside. And then they just got dudes around him that are good scorers, good shooters. Sepulvedo, Turnbow, Geatley, all these guys can play out on the wing. So I'm really high on Dexter. It's going to be a tough matchup if it is Cape Central, which I'm assuming it's going to be. Already up by double digits here. So it's going to be a tough game. Cape Central cannot just show up and expect to win because of the names on the jersey. So I will now get into some girls basketball this week. The games I already got final. Monday, St. Vincent took it to Saxony, 74-26. Kinsey Keys did lead the Crusaders with 10. St. Vincent, I mean, they got second in state last year. They bring a majority of the roster back. You know, the Rubel twins, really unbelievable. I believe Riley Robinson's back and the Adams girls back as well. So, I mean, they've got a loaded roster. We might be seeing a big-time matchup between the Indians and them. Coming soon. Jackson, unfortunately for Kennett, it was scheduled that Jackson's going to be playing 3 days after the SEMO Conference Tournament championship game against Kennett at Kennett. Unfortunately for Kennett, the championship game was the Kennett Indians, so they've had to play Jackson twice in like 3 days or whatever, 5 days. And Jackson blew them out once again, 71-43. Then Cape went on the road down south. Scott County Central lost 52-50. Kind of a surprising outcome, in my opinion. Then we get to kind of get into the Christmas tournament for the girls, but Notre Dame not in the Christmas tournament. Cape Jackson, Saxony are in the Christmas tournament. Notre Dame is going on the road to Francis Howell. Going to be a very, very tough ball game. I don't know what Francis Howell brings back. I know they're 0-1 right now, but last year I think they went 26-4 or something like that. So they're going to be a very, very tough squad. So it'll be an uphill battle for Notre Dame. Having to go on the road up there will not be easy. It'll definitely be something to monitor, see how it goes. And if they are able to hang, that'd be a very, very, very positive sign for the Bulldogs as we head into the early part of the season. But I will pull up the bracket here for the girls' Christmas tournament. So it's set up as a 16-team double elimination bracket. So, however, there's only 13 teams. So the 1 seed Jackson, the 2 seed St. Vincent, and the 3 seed Delta all get a bye. I'm going to tell you to do your own independent research and find where the games are and what days are going to be played on, things like that. It's posted everywhere. All the teams, social media, like Facebook pages, I've shared it on the Exit 99 Sports Facebook page and Twitter account, and I'll do the same on Instagram, things like that. So go check it out there. But you got Jackson, the 1 seed. They're going to get a bye. They're going to play the winner of Chester and Woodland on Saturday, the 13th. So, and I believe that game will be played at Saxony. Jackson, expecting to win that game, cruising to the semifinals. So, moving on. You've got Kelly versus Chaffee in the 4 versus 13 game. Expecting Chaffee to win there. They bring back quite a bit of talent. Then Cape Central is the 5 seed. They're taking on Oak Ridge. That game will be played at Saxony as well. You know, I'm expecting the Tigers to win. They'll be matched up in a tough ball game potentially against Chaffee in the quarterfinals. And then St. Vincent has a bye. Saxony is a 7 seed. They're taking on Scott County Central, the 10. That'll be a home game for Saxony, which will be very nice. And if they win, they do unfortunately have to fall right into St. Vincent, but they're playing a Scott County team that just beat Cape by 2. So that will be a tough test for the Crusaders in that first round. Could be on upset watch. If they do win, like I said, Saxony will be playing St. Vincent. If they lose, they will get, I guess, a bye then technically after that because St. Vincent's not playing anybody. So they'll be moving right into the consolation semifinals against, who knows, right? A Scott City, maybe. Could be Scott City. Could be Perryville. So in this tournament, I expect Jackson to be in the finals. I expect St. Vincent to be in the finals. And we'll see how it goes from there. St. Vincent got up on them and just blew them out last year at the Christmas tournament. That lopsided of a result was a surprise. But St. Vincent, stifling defense. Just like I said, they took it to Jackson last year and really blew out the Indians there. I mean, Jackson was at that point a very inexperienced team, very young, obviously leaning on a lot of freshmen in the starting lineup. And, that final was 48-33. So that was the Jackson Indians' only loss of the regular season. So kind of lends to how good St. Vincent is. St. Vincent, they're looking to go win a state title, right? They got second last year. They're looking to get over the hump, go win a state title. They won a state title in volleyball with a lot of the same girls. So keep an eye out. It will be a big-time potential showdown. I'll tell you, the semifinals are slated for Monday, the 15th. And then the finals will be Thursday, the 18th. So a big gaps in between all these games. And the semifinals and finals will be played at the Show Me Center. So get out, go check out some good girls hoops. I'm very, very excited to see just how all of it goes down. Also, on the schedule right now, Saxony is playing at Scott City on the 11th. We'll see if that sticks or not. I'm not sure. Also, Cape is scheduled to play a game on the 10th against Meridian, the same day they're scheduled to play Oak Ridge. So I don't know how that's going to work. Stay tuned. And then we've got a couple of swim meets. You'll know Cape and Jackson swam against each other Tuesday. Friday, Jackson will be taking on Fort Zumwalt West. So another tough matchup for the Indians there. For the Indians wrestling this week, the 11th, so Thursday, they have a tri-match, Poplar Bluff and Cape Central. And the 13th, they will be in the Farmington Scramble, going up north for that. Cape Central, like I said, they'll be at the tri-meet with Jackson on the 11th. Then the 13th, they will be in the Liberty Varsity Boys Wrestling Tournament. So, Cape Central going on a lot of, wrestling in a lot of big tournaments up and down, Interstate 55, going up in St. Louis quite a bit. Notre Dame, the 11th, they will be hosting how many teams? It is going to be 4 different teams there. Notre Dame, Herculaneum, Dexter, and Kelly, all going to Notre Dame. So definitely go check that out for them. On the girls' side, same thing is scheduled right now. Like I said, you'll know they've already had a tri-match with Live for Life and St. Mary's as well. The girls for Cape Central, they are in a tri-meet currently. They'll be at the Jackson Quad on the 11th, and they're also scheduled to wrestle in a Liberty Girls Invitational on the 12th. The Tiger Classic is coming up here on the 19th next week, or a couple weeks from now, so definitely be on the lookout for that. And then the Jackson girls, this week, they've got a tri-match. It's Poplar Bluff, Cape Central, and the Indians. And then the 13th, they are scheduled to go up to Francis Howell for a big-time tournament. So that'll be a tough competition. It'll be an uphill battle for sure. So keep an eye out. Jackson Wrestling has a Facebook page. Check them out. Cape Central has a wrestling page, I know. Notre Dame posts all of their stuff to their normal just athletics page, any results that they have. So be on the lookout for all the scores, all the updates. I'll keep sharing everything on our social media on my end, on Exit 99 pages, everywhere that I can find it. Outside of that, had a lot of athletes sign to keep playing sports at the next level. Big one, Bryson Wessel, signing with Mizzou. So, it's always really, really cool when a kid gets to go play at a Power 5 level in football, something that not a lot of people from this area do or, get the opportunity to do. So it's very, very neat to see him living out that very cool dream. I saw who Chase Lawson signed with Three Rivers, play baseball there. The Nebalskis, going on the longest road trip of anybody. They signed to run at Alaska Fairbanks. That is kind of central, but east central Alaska. Pack a coat, Nebalski family. You're going to need it. So shout out to them. Very, very cool. Very, very unique situation. And then finally, give an update on one of our, I guess, notable local athletes playing at the Division I basketball level is Cameron Williams, Cape Central graduate. Young man, started varsity as a freshman all the way through, was a big-time playmaker for the Tigers. And Cam, playing well. He's up at Portland University. The Pilots, they look really, really good to start the year. They've been playing really, really well. I've been watching some of their ball games. They're technically first in the West Coast Conference. They're 6-4. They're playing really well. A lot of guys averaging. They have 5 guys averaging double figures. Cam is averaging 11 points, 5 rebounds, 1.5 assists, shooting 58% from the field, 36% from 3. So shout out to Cam. Like I said, kid always watched playing the entire time he's grown up. So very cool to see him playing at a high level. So that pretty much does it. Go ahead and, if you want to listen to basketball, might not be the same experience as watching basketball. If you want to go watch it, a great environment going down to the field house, especially if you're playing against Sikeston, you have a chance to go witness one of the toughest home court advantages in Southeast Missouri. Get down to the field house. Jackson's playing Sikeston. Could have a Cape Central versus Jackson or Sikeston in the finals, or, those teams are going to be in the third place game potentially as well. Who knows? We'll see as the tournament progresses, but get down there to the field house. Championship night is chaos, especially if Sikeston's going to be playing in a championship game, but it's chaos. It's going to be a jam-packed house. Get there early. There's not a lot I can tell you to do. You got to take off work. Look, you got to get there. First game's at 5:30, something like that. Get there at 4. Get there at 4:30, at least. You won't be able to get in the doors if you get there at game time. Go check that out. Go to the girls' Christmas tournament. Go support them. It's going to be a big venue when they do get over to the Show Me Center. So get out there. Go check out their games in person. If you're not able to watch in person, a lot of these teams, I don't really have an answer for you. However, Jackson boys basketball, yours truly, and potentially Cody Hinkabine will be on the call with me for the semifinal and championship night there at Sikeston. Friend of the channel, Ryan Winkler, does the Cape games on 95.7 FM, 1550 AM. Let's check him out. He'll also be streaming the games on Cape Central Sports YouTube channel, so go find him there. Rusty Hendricks, he does the Notre Dame games. That'll be on 12:20 a.m. for Notre Dame boys. And then finally, if you want to watch the games, A-Court Sports is going to be streaming everything on YouTube. Go look them up. All the games will be displayed on there. So should be a great time. SEMO Conference Boys Tournament's huge. I will give out a streaming link if there is one for the girls' tournament games. We'll see how that goes. I know they're playing some games in Delta, playing some games in Saxony, and then the Show Me Center. If you want to watch Jackson games, it's out to the Hendersons. Look up HENDI Hoops, Hendy Hoops on YouTube. Stream all the games and saves them all to a log there on YouTube. So that's how I keep up, especially whenever Jackson boys and girls overlap. When I'm calling a boys game, I go back and watch all the girls games that way. So very cool to see. And then a lot of schools, if they're playing at the home, do stream their games on Huddle, things like that. So go check it out. All the schools should post their links, things like that. And if not, I will post the links on Facebook or Twitter, Instagram. So thank you all for listening. Thank you for watching. Those who do, go subscribe on YouTube. Go follow the channel everywhere, social media, things like that. I always appreciate it. I am doing better at receiving compliments in public, so we're taking that step forward. I'm getting less awkward at people saying they enjoy it. I appreciate that quite a bit. I appreciate everybody who does hit me up, reach out, things like that. I really enjoy doing this, and I like doing it. Not to glorify me, but to glorify those who are putting in the time and the effort, coaches and players, using their time to put out an entertaining product and teach kids life lessons, which is what it's kind of all about in the end for a lot of these people. So appreciate it. And yeah, have a good one. Take it easy, and I will see you in the next one.